New at 5, the pandemic may be over, but for some, COVID has left a permanent mark.
A new report shows Oklahoma has the highest rate of any state for long COVID, meaning symptoms that last longer than 3 months after a negative test.
Now, Fox 23's Paris Rain is live after talking to a woman who says she and her family had COVID multiple times together, but she's the only one with a life-lasting symptoms.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys, most people think that it's usually one and done when it comes to COVID, but the Muskogee mom says this is something that's repeatedly impacted her life. She got it first in 2019, then again and again for a total amount of 4 times.
It took months to get over it, but then we got over it, and then July 2nd, we got it again. We did test positive that time.
Donna Lynn Laning lives in Muskogee. She is one of the 34% of Oklahomans to experience long COVID. She says back in 2020, her family and a large amount of Muskogee citizens all had COVID.
Second time that we got it, my son had 0 symptoms. And my husband, he had a little bit of trouble breathing, but other than that, not much.
But she was left with diabetes, heart issues, and even trouble speaking and remembering things. Something family physician Dr. Matthew Else says is not unheard of.
And we have this extreme other end of things, and we don't understand it quite yet. But as we've heard, there can be some pretty odd lingering symptoms and some long-lasting new diagnoses such as diabetes or cognitive defects or deficits. So we have memory problems, brain fog.
He says 75% of people who get COVID have a cough or fatigue that lasts a few months.
Best thing you can do is get immunized. So we do have data lately showing that people that have had 3 shots have a 69% reduction in their chance of getting long COVID. That's huge. Like, I can't explain that enough. So
unfortunately, the virus has not gone away and is now as regular as the flu.
Every year, just like those other viruses, it's going to mutate and adapt to what's going on in the world. So we won't ever know if it's going to be a severe strain or a mild strain. But one thing we do know is that the virus is going to be there. And one thing we're seeing more and more of is that it's a pretty mild virus more lately. However, people aren't necessarily recovering like they would expect.
The U.S. Census data found that more than 500,000 of Oklahomans had long COVID. Now, that's way more than the national average of just 34%, more than the 10%. Live in Tulsa, covering news that matters, Paris Rain, Fox 23 News.